Good evening, this is QTV Nightly News coming to you from our studios on Kairaba Avenue, and I am Ashma Uba. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. A standoff between cement dealers in Senegal and the Gambia at the Kir Ali border post in the North Bank region since Wednesday has caused long vehicle queues and inconvenience for passengers and cement importers and exporters in both countries. In observance of International Youth Day, celebrated annually on 12th August, the Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari Waibaji, delivered a statement focusing on this year's theme, From Clicks to Progress, Youth Digital Pathways for Sustainable Development. A team from the ECOWAS Commission Head Office in Nigeria is in the Gambia for a field validation, monitoring and evaluation of humanitarian relief provided for food crisis and flood disaster victims in the Gambia. In international news, Rwandan President Paul Kagame has been inaugurated for a fourth term after sweeping up to victory in the July election with more than 99% of the vote. And in sports news, Sukuta Youth Football Academy triumphed in the Sukuta Super Cup final after a 2-0 win against Team Sports at the parked Dembadu football field on Saturday. Those are other stories coming up. Do stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. Now, a standoff between cement dealers in Senegal and the Gambia at the Kir Ali border post in the North Bank region has caused long vehicle queues and inconvenience for passengers and cement importers and exporters in both countries. Our North Bank reporter, Don Williams, visited the busy border crossing, and his story is narrated by Adi Drame.
The dispute at this busy border crossing has caused several kilometre queues of vehicles on both sides of the Gambia-Senegal border. The Kir Ali border post in Farafenni is the main entry and exit point for travellers and motorists crossing into the Gambia or going to Casamance and other parts of Senegal. On Wednesday the 8th and Thursday the 9th of August, security personnel and drivers' unions from both the Gambia and Senegal came together to find a way to defuse the tension. According to information we received, Gambian drivers accused their Senegalese counterparts of refusing entry to Gambian trucks dealing with cement into and out of Senegal. As a tit for tat, Gambian drivers did the same in retaliation. Officials of both sides met with the Deputy Superintendent at Farafenni Police Station, Omar Sane, to find a solution. After negotiations, both sides agreed on a short-term solution. Here is Omar Sane.
I have told you since yesterday that anger doesn't solve any problem. We should approach situations with calm and good reasoning. Always use that when dealing with people. If you want to use anger, you will regret it at the end of the day.
Amadou Njai, a member of the Drivers Union, had this to say.
ñi jé ko Sénégal dem direct Banjul yeen da ngeen nek fi ci frontière bi yene alkali frontière bi.
This problem is about those who come from Senegal and go direct to Banjul. So my opinion is that at the beginning, all those who are heads of the transport unions of the two countries should have sat down to discuss among themselves and come to an agreement, and the matter will be solved. What we are going to do now is to talk to the heads of the two transport unions of the two countries as soon as possible, to have a dialogue to solve the matter so that we can all have peace.
Lamin Njai is the commissioner at the Kir Ali border crossing on the Senegal side.
Anyone who wants to demonstrate can do so, but we are pleading with you to avoid preventing any vehicle from going through our border checkpoint, because the problem is not in Senegal, it is in the Gambia. So be patient and everything will be okay.
There were other speakers from Kaffrine in Senegal who all spoke about finding an amicable solution to the problem. After discussions, the borders on both sides were opened temporarily to allow the free flow of traffic. For now, the stranded vehicles and passengers have been able to continue their journeys, while authorities from both the Gambia and Senegal work on a long-term or permanent solution to these border disputes that affect motorists, passengers and businesses. Adedarami for QTV News.
In observance of International Youth Day, celebrated annually on 12 August, the Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari Waibaji, delivered a statement focusing on this year's theme, From Cliques to Progress, Youth a Digital Pathways for Sustainable Development. Lena E. Igwenyiba reports.
International Youth Day, first commemorated on August 12, 2000, celebrates the essential role of young people, recognizing their contributions and addressing the challenges they face. We live in an age where everyone assumes young people use digital technology a lot. In fact, some say they abuse the technology or make inadequate or improper use of it. As such, Minister Bakari Waibaji discussed the theme, emphasizing the role young people play in harnessing digital technology to drive sustainable development.
While the Gambia is among Africa's smallest nations, it is uniquely positioned to become a pioneer tech hub. To take advantage of this, the National Digital Economy Master Plan 2023 was launched as a flagship project that will leverage technology, digital solutions, and services to ensure digital inclusion by connecting the unconnected and underconnected, create jobs, and develop the economy.
Minister Baji outlined 4 key pillars in the Gambia's recovery-focused National Development Plan 2023 to 2027, aimed at enhancing the country's digital landscape.
These are Pillar 1, enabling environment, policy, and regulation, inclusive digital infrastructure, digital innovation and entrepreneurship, digital skills, and human development. With the support of our partners and through our satellite agencies, the ministry is providing access to ICT training facilities at various youth centers in rural Gambia, including Jarasoma in the Lower River region, Bansang and Janjambure in the CRR, and soon to be operational is Farafenye in the North Bank region. These centers are offering training opportunities that can help enhance the digital skills of young people who otherwise might not have had the opportunity.
Minister Baji commended the achievements of young Gambians in the tech sector, despite limited resources, reaffirming the government's commitment to fostering a supportive digital environment for youth.
Our young people are winning robotic competitions abroad despite the limited resources at their disposal. Young people are developing applications that are helping to improve the business landscape in the Gambia and also improving lives and livelihoods. I wish to assure all of you that the government of the Gambia, under the leadership of His Excellency President Adama Barrow, will continue to avail the necessary policy and regulatory environment, including needed resources to continue to leverage on the potential of the digital environment. I further wish to invite all of you to collaborate and partner with us to harness the demographic potential of our youth to transform education, economic growth, peace, and prosperity in the Gambia. To every young person out there, I say Happy International Youth Day.
With over 60% of the Gambia's population under 25, the country's youthful energy is a powerful force for its future. The statement echoed the sentiment that the youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow, reminding us of the critical role they already play and can continue to play in the nation's development. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena E. Igwenyuba.
A team from the ECOWAS Commission head office in Abuja, Nigeria, is in the Gambia for a field validation, monitoring and evaluation of humanitarian relief provided for food crisis and flood disaster victims in the Gambia. Aliou Cisse has more.
The mission's primary objective is to ensure the effectiveness, transparency and accountability of the humanitarian aid distributed to the affected communities. The visit will include comprehensive field visits, stakeholder engagements, and an evaluation of the relief efforts to identify gaps and areas for improvement. ECOWAS allocated a total of $10.16 million for humanitarian relief efforts across its member states, with $1.76 million specifically designated for the Gambia. These funds were to address the needs of victims affected by food crisis and flood disasters in 2022. Sana Dahaba, the Executive Director of the National Disaster Management Agency, NDMA, and Malang Fofana, Executive Director of the National Nutrition Agency, NANA, respectively, The government's beneficiary agencies welcome ECOWAS intervention as being helpful in addressing the vulnerability and impact of the floods, which had affected thousands of households.
We are pleased to welcome the ECOWAS monitoring team to assess the progress made so far. I want to thank ECOWAS for supporting member states in managing the impact of the crisis. Disasters have significantly affected people's life and livelihood, especially in 2022, when over 50,000 people were affected by the flood in the Gambia.
High levels of food insecurity and child malnutrition reveal the country's vulnerability, undermining workforce productivity and economic growth while perpetuating poverty.
Usman Sise, the current Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Office of the Vice President, says the government of the Gambia has demonstrated a strong dedication to disaster risk reduction and management within the country.
This commitment is highlighted in the Recovery Focused National Development Plan, where the first pillar prioritizes addressing communities resilient to shocks and crises. This emphasis on disaster risk reduction and management underscores the government's proactive approach to building a more resilient and secure future for its citizens.
The NDMA identified the Catholic Relief Services, a non-governmental organization, to implement the project, which was launched in May. Dr. Abdoulaye Toure is the country director of CRS.
When disaster strikes, the people that are mostly affected are those that are living with disability. So those people were prioritized first. And then secondly, household with female heads. These are households that are headed by females. We know that in terms of vulnerability, they are among the most vulnerable groups as well. And households whose houses were completely destroyed due to the floods or partially destroyed. But priority was given to those whose houses were completely destroyed.
Mohamed Ibrahim, head of the ECOWAS mission, hopes the outcome of the visit will assist the country to meet donor expectations and international standards.
Embarking on this mission to measure the impact of our collective support and efforts to identify the gaps and see how we can do better by leaving no one behind.
The delegation will brief the media on Thursday on the outcomes of their field visits to various beneficiary communities before return to Abuja. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
That story by Aliou Cisse will take us to a commercial break, but when we return, we have more local, international, as well as sports stories for you. Do stay tuned.
Welcome to the future of transportation in the Gambia. The Bertel-Harding Highway, a 22-kilometer double carriageway, is set to revolutionize travel and connectivity in our beloved country. A 3-lane highway means more space for vehicles, smoother traffic flow, and reduced congestion. Each lane has a specific purpose. The leftmost lane for overtaking and faster vehicles, the middle lane for standard driving, and the rightmost lane for slower and turning vehicles.
Need a quick car service? Espas Motors has got you covered. From quick scans to oil changes and fuel filter replacements, we handle it all within an hour. Take advantage of our exclusive promotion with 35% off labor and 10% off service. Espas Motors is located at Bertel-Harding Highway, opposite Kotu Power Station. Book now. Call 353-4444, 352-2222, 385-6822. Hurry. Offer ends September 7th. Espas Motors.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I'm Ashmauba. Now, in their quest to promote environmental conservation, Think of Home Association, in collaboration with Kasany Village Development Committee, planted 1,500 malina and 500 mahogany trees in Kasany Community Forest in Fonyi Bintang on Saturday. Juldenjai was there, and she now reports.
From 2001 to 2023, the Gambia lost 29% of the forest cover in areas where the dominant drivers of loss resulted in deforestation, according to the Global Forest Watch. The western region, where I am standing right now, is responsible for 91% of tree cover lost in the same period. However, tree planting initiatives such as this one in Fonyi will go a long way towards changing that narrative. Siaka Kurubali, the chairman of Kasany Village Development Committee, expressed his appreciation to the youths of Kasany for reviving the tree planting initiative, which had stopped for a while now.
We have seen the benefits of tree planting. Even by looking at some of these trees, you will notice that this forest is being preserved. Our biggest challenge in seeking to restore and preserve the forest is bushfires. Look at how burnt that fruit tree is. Now, Alhamdulillah, the youths of this community are committed to ensuring that they put an end to bushfires.
Omar Sinabi, president of the Think of Home Association, highlights some of the association's initiatives.
Whenever we have a congress, we have the first day, that's on Saturday today, we gather, we do the contribution, prepare the agenda, then on Sunday we go to the work. Normally what we do is, when we have the fund, we go to our community clinic, that we have Kasany Clinic. So we go there, we do the cleaning exercise, we give them some money to fund them to buy drugs. Last year, we give them $10,000 for them to buy drugs, because every time a person go there, they say that we don't have adequate drug supply from the government, so we also sponsor them. But this time we are going and we realize, what else should we do? We believe that we have to reinforce our forests, which is very, very important.
Mr. B.I. also says they want to fence the forest to attract more tourists to the area. Hatab Kamara, of the Forest Enterprise Development section at the Department of Forestry, underscores the importance of managing Gambia's ecosystem.
Very thankful to the communities that they are realizing the problem that we are encountering in our ecosystem, especially our forest cover. Then they are now taking it as their responsibility to come themselves in full time, in physically, to plant trees and protect the area from the fire or the people who may come to destroy their forests. We see if communities are active in that. Definitely we, the Department of Forestry, will be very proud of that, and we are ready at all times to give our service to the fullest.
Bakari Kebaji, the National Assembly member for Fonyi Bintang, was in attendance.
For other communities that are not doing this, it is a good example that they learn that we are the people that can develop our nation, we are the people that can develop our community. We cannot wait for government any longer. It is time for us to take up the full responsibility and do what we want. Reforestation is also needed. So this is what these people are doing, and I truly appreciate it. And I want to encourage all other communities in Fonyi Bintang Kabana and throughout the country, all of them to emulate these people, because that is what is required for us to move as a nation.
Think of Home Association was formed 5 years ago to champion the development of Kasany village in the areas of health, agriculture, education, women and youth's empowerment, among other matters. It is hoped that this tree planting exercise will raise awareness and inspire other communities to emulate the community of Kasany. For QTV News, I am Julden Jai.
That story by Julden Jai will take us to international news in a moment. Rwandan President Paul Kagame has been inaugurated for a fourth term after sweeping to victory in the July election with more than 99% of the vote. Mamadou Mbouch tells us more.
More than 20 African heads of state and government were among the tens of thousands who attended the ceremony, marked by pomp and color, in the packed 45,000 capacity Amahoro National Stadium in the capital, Kigali. Among the leaders in attendance were that of Kenya, William Ruto, Ghana's Nana Akufo-Addo, leaders of the two Guineas in West Africa, Bissau and Conakry, Senegal's Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko, and leaders of Sudan, South Sudan, Togo, Tanzania, the Kingdom of Eswatini, Somalia, Gabon, Zimbabwe, the list goes on. This is African leaders standing in solidarity with President Paul Kagame, whose overwhelming margin of victory have raised some questions about how truly democratic the elections were. Two candidates were cleared to run by the country's electoral authority. One polled 0.5% of the votes, and the other scraped 0.32%. Many potential candidates were barred from contesting. A former speaker of the Rwandan parliament, Dr. Joseph Sabarenzi, author of the book God Sleeps in Rwanda, and now living in exile in the U.S., puts it like this. The election is like a football game, where the organizer is also a competitor, selects other competitors, orders people to attend the game, and where everyone knows the predetermined winner, but must behave as if the game is real. The problem in Rwanda is with political governance. There is no level playing field, there is no space for opposition, there is no freedom of speech, which risks undoing the achievements of good technocratic governance. Rights activists say Kagame rules in a climate of fear, crushing any dissent with intimidation, arbitrary detentions, killings and disappearances. The charge sheet also includes his alleged backing of the M23 rebels who have destabilized the Democratic Republic of Congo. Just days before the July election, a UN report said there were some 4,000 Rwandan troops fighting alongside M23 rebels in DR Congo. In his inaugural address, President Kagame, reflecting on Rwanda's progress over the past 3 decades, notes that their achievements have surpassed expectations, saying, "Indeed, it is beyond what words can describe, given where we started from. Our tragic past ignited a fire in each one of us, a fire of hope, resilience, and justice. This is who we have become as Rwandans." And what they have become has won him many admirers, among them some leading Western politicians who praise him for bringing stability and rebuilding Rwanda after the 1994 genocide, in which 800,000 ethnic Tutsis and moderate Hutus were killed. Indeed, over the past 10 years, Rwanda has recorded the strongest growth in the East African community and the most significant improvement in living standard. Because of a 2015 constitutional amendment, he could, in theory, remain in power until 2034. Many will be keeping watch to see how history unfolds in the country affectionately known as the Land of 1,000 Hills. For QTV News, I am Mamadou Mbouch.
From International, let's now take a look at sports news in a moment. Sukuta Youth Football Academy triumphed in the Sukuta Super Cup final after a 2-0 against Team Sports at the Park Dembadu football field on Saturday. Our sports reporter Mamadou Gajaga has the details.
2 beautiful first-half goals without reply settled a highly competitive Sukuta Super Cup final. Baseni Cham put the Sukuta Football Academy boys into the lead by tapping in a drop ball from a free kick after Team Sports defenders failed to clear. Musa Bojang sealed the victory for the Academy boys from the penalty spot after Musa Drame was brought down in the box. He stepped up and calmly converted the penalty kick. The 2-0 lead going into the break gave Team Sports something of a mountain to climb in the second half. After the break, Team Sports came out a rejuvenated side, playing better than they had in the first half and creating several scoring opportunities. For all their pressure, they will look back on this match and ask themselves why they failed to score. The victory was sweet revenge for the Academy boys, having lost to Team Sports in last year's league final. This is how coach Ahmed Tijan Bojang of the Sukuta Youth Football Academy reacted to his team's victory.
So last year, the same thing I tell you, this is an academic team. So always our process is continuation. So this year, we prepare a lot because we know that we are playing with a very good team. So already some of our players they are playing like divisional teams. So they help us so much with the energy. So and what behind our winning always I tell you is discipline.
This was the reaction of Omar Toure, coach of the defeated Team Sports.
The other game coming approach, so just Logman Tarana said so.
We were just not lucky. Even though we lost some of our players to divisional teams, such departures should not have an effect on our night out. Parmatar Cham, the president of the Sukuta Sports Committee, was pleased with the outcome of the final.
I still want to say thank you very much to all the teams, the participants, the spectators. This was a spectacular performance put up by both teams. We've seen the first half was quite dominant by Sifa, The first half ended 2-0, and when these guys came back, you could see that they had a very, very strong discussion in the bench room. So they changed the whole dynamics. They were unable to score the goal, but we have seen the changes. Congratulations to the winners and hard luck to the runners-up. They all did a very good job. Reflecting on the past, we've all known very well. It went very smoothly. You can see Sukuta is one of the most peaceful zones as far as the recognized zones are concerned. We were a bit concerned that we don't have security today for the final because of some logistical issues here and there. But then at the end of the day, my guys were like, hey, you know what you forgot here is we are all one and the same. This thing will go peacefully. And exactly that's what happened. But that's not because of us. That is because of the people, the community that we are working with. So we are grateful to everybody. And then we say a big thank you to all those who are supporting us in one way or the other. We're grateful, including yourselves.
As winners, Sukuta Youth Football Academy received $25,000 and a trophy to the delight of their army of supporters, while runners-up, Team Spores, received $20,000. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News.
Well, that's all we have for you, but before we go, a recap of our main news headlines. A standoff between cement dealers in Senegal and the Gambia-Senegal Ali border post in the North Bank region since Wednesday has caused long vehicle queues and inconvenience for passengers and cement importers and exporters in both countries. In observance of the International Youth Day celebrated annually on 12th August, the Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakary Waibaji, delivered a statement focusing on this year's theme, From Clicks to Progress, Youth Digital Pathways for Sustainable Development. A team from the ECOWAS Commission head office in Nigeria is in the Gambia for a field validation, monitoring and evaluation of humanitarian relief provided for food, crisis and flood victims in the Gambia. In international news, Rwandan President Paul Kagame has been inaugurated for a fourth term after sweeping a victory in the July election with more than 99% of the vote. And in sports news, Sukuta Youth Football Academy triumphed in the Sukuta Super Cup final after a 2-0 against Team Sports at the Park Dembadu football field on Saturday. Well, that's all we have for you in this news bulletin. Join us again at 10 p.m. for more news. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your evening.